peaceful people. We are loving people. We love everybody who loves us. But we don't love anybody who doesn't love us.
He is known as one of the most influential and controversial proponents of African American rights. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be learning more about the life and accomplishments of Malcom-x.
We declare our right on this earth to be a man, to be a human being, to be respected as a human being, to be given the rights of a human being in this society, on this earth, in this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary.
Born Malcolm Little on May 19, 1925 in Omaha, Nebraska, he was taught early on about Black pride, as his father was involved in the Universal Negro Improvement Association. He and his family were forced to move around in his youth due to the menace of various white supremacist groups. In 1931, his father was killed by a streetcar, and 7 years later, his mother was committed to an asylum. By the time he was 20, Malcom-x was living in Boston and engaging in various criminal activities. It was there he was arrested for burglary and sentenced to 8 to 10 years in jail. While in prison, he educated himself and became interested in the Nation of Islam religious movement. He began conversing with the group's leader, Elijah Muhammad, and decided to join. Finally, in 1952, he was paroled.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that it is time for you and me to stand up for ourselves. It is time for you and me to see for ourselves. It is time for you and me to hear for ourselves. And it is time for you and me to fight for ourselves.
He then changed his family name to X, like other members of the group, and this represented his unknown African name. Malcom-x quickly moved through the ranks of the Nation of Islam and was instrumental in the group's growth. He is credited with encouraging boxer Cassius Clay, better known as Muhammad Ali, to join.
We look at Miss Universe, we see white. Even Tarzan, the king of the jungle in back Africa.
In 1959, Malcom-x expanded his audience by appearing on television to discuss the Nation of Islam. He relished any chance he had to speak, especially to college students. Malcom-x was working in direct contrast to members of the civil rights movement, who were aiming for racial integration and nonviolent protest. Malcom-x preached that African Americans should be completely separated from whites, that blacks were the superior race, and that they should use any means necessary to defend themselves. This resulted in a tense relationship between civil rights activists and Malcom-x.
Black people are dissatisfied. They're dissatisfied not only with the white man, but they're dissatisfied with these Negroes who have been sitting around here posing as leaders and spokesmen for black people and actually making the problem worse instead of making the problem better.
In 1963, he began working on his autobiography with Alex Haley. Soon after, his reputation in the Nation of Islam was tarnished when he made disparaging remarks following President John F. Kennedy's assassination. On March 8th of 1964, the former star of the group announced he was leaving the Nation of Islam amid ongoing death threats and tensions with its leader. He quickly formed his own religious organization called Muslim Mosque, Inc. and converted to Sunni Islam.
Now that I have the independence of action, it's my intention to work with everybody or against everybody, whatever the case may be, to try and get some kind of immediate solution to the problems that are confronting our people.
This was also when he decided to make his pilgrimage to Mecca, which was one of many trips he made around the world that he credited with expanding his global outlook. His personal beliefs began to evolve, and he chose to reach out to other civil rights leaders to work together toward the same goal.
We will work with any groups, organizations, or leaders in any way, as long as it's genuinely designed to get results.
However, on February 21, 1965, Malcom-x was speaking at Manhattan's Audubon Ballroom when he was shot and killed. The three men convicted of the crime were all members of the Nation of Islam, though two of the three maintained their innocence. Even after his death, Malcom-x's ideas influenced African Americans. Groups like the Black Power movement can be traced back to him. Malcom-x is both revered and reviled. However, he is remembered for being a brilliant activist for African American rights by even his sharpest critics.
Now, I am well aware of what I'm setting in motion by what I'm saying up here tonight. I'm well aware. But I have never said or done anything in my life that I wasn't prepared to suffer the consequences for.